Hi everyone, Bernard here. I hope you're all staying safe and well, and welcome to an episode of Horrible Histories here on the Citizen channel. Yes, not done one of these for a little while actually. Very proud of our history, aren't we? But I think we can sort of be proud of the things that didn't quite go so well for us as well, because it's all part of our history. I don't mind, as you know, if you watch my programme things and stuff like that, I like it when teams put things in the programmes about when it doesn't go quite right for a team, you know, when they actually lose rather than putting all the victories in, etc, etc. So if you've done, this is probably about my fourth or fifth one of these I've done now over the time we've been doing these things. So today we're going to have a look at 1962-63, which in itself was a pretty disastrous season for City. It certainly wasn't the best by a long way, but yeah, it didn't make very good watching if you watch my history of Manchester City. Obviously, when I touched up on the 62-63 season, it wasn't fantastic to say the least. But I think what encapsulated it more was this dreadful season was two games. It started poorly, then it improved, and then it sort of finished really badly. But there was two games against West Ham United, who themselves had not had the greatest start to the season and didn't, as it ended up, have a fantastic season themselves. But it sort of encapsulated what happened with City's season, those two games that we played against West Ham, and things would improve quite quickly for West Ham after this, and for City it would take slightly longer, but they would improve obviously within 4 or 5 seasons of this anyway. So today we're going to have a look at the two league meetings between ourselves and the old Hammers West Ham United, that's at 1962-63 season. So please, if you're new to the channel, push that subscribe button, push the bell notification. I'll try and entertain and inform on these history things as I do with the City present stuff as well. So please, I hope you enjoy it. And of course, if you look at my playlist, you'll see some stuff on my film and TV channel as well. So if that's any interest, please have a scoot over there and have a look at that. And on the screen, there'll be some links to Facebook and Twitter. And I do have a little website, a little day job, well, one of my 2 day jobs, a little website for old rare DVDs and movie posters. That's at moviegamenostalgia.com. So all the links are on the screen. And if you do follow a friend, I do check every couple of days and follow and friend everyone back. And please tell your City supporting friends about this. Get them to subscribe. That'll be fantastic. All your comments are very welcome. I was a little bit too young for this. My first season of watching City was 65-66. But if you have any personal memories of this, certainly the first game at Main Road was an interesting one. So if you've got any personal memories, please let me know in the comments. I know you do, some of you guys, so that's fantastic. It's lovely to hear your memories and thoughts and share them with other City fans as well. And please, if you can't comment today, just give us a thumbs up. That's nice to know you're out there. Right, here we go. Yes, Saturday the 8th of September was the 7th game of the season for both City and West Ham. And we weren't doing very well up to game. After 5 games, West Ham sat bottom of the First Division. We sat next to bottom of the First Division, so we hadn't done very well. But we had a slight turnaround in the 6th game. West Ham beat Liverpool, which is a good win for them. A 1-0 win over Liverpool. And we beat the previous season's league champions, Ipswich, at Main Road, just 3 or 4 days before this game. So it looks as though we might be able to turn things round. So certainly when this game approached on Saturday the 8th of September, 3 p.m. kickoff, no one had the slightest idea how it was going to pan out. But most people expected quite a tight, close game. The attendance that day was 24,069. Les McDowell, of course, was still the City manager, and his team that day was Troutman, Betts, Kennedy, Benson, Levers, Oakes, Barlow, Dobin, Harley, Young and Hayes. Ron Greenwood, yes, Ron Greenwood, and he went on to manage England as well, didn't he? He was the Hammers manager. And their team, well, a couple of familiar names in this as well. Leslie, John Bond was a right back, Burkitt, Martin Peters, Brown, Bobby Moore, Scott, Woosnam, Byrne, Hurst, Jeff Hurst and Musgrove. So yeah, there's the makings of quite a good team there in themselves. On to the game, 27 minutes in, it was 1-0 to West Ham. A Woosnam free kick was headed on by Bobby Moore and Malcolm Musgrove had an easy tap in. So that was okay, that wasn't fine. But yeah, we'd equalised within a minute. Yeah, Colin Barlow had brought the scores level with a header from a Neil Young cross. So it didn't look too bad after 28 minutes. And in fact, City had chances to take the lead. But our defence that season wasn't fantastic. A little bit more of that later on. But we had chances, but West Ham were actually squandering chances as well. And it only appeared a matter of time before they'd actually start putting their chances away. 37 minutes, it was 2-1 to West Ham. Scott banged in from a Musgrove cross. 39 minutes, it was 3-1. Burn volleyed home a third from a nice touch from Jeff Hurst. 43 minutes, it was 4-1. Martin Peters went on a run and blasted home from a long through ball. Yeah, so they go 4-1 at half time, and let's face it, City heads were down, and West Ham sort of played the second half as a bit of an exhibition match. And Troutman made some pretty good saves in that second half to keep the score pretty reasonable. But on 70 minutes, a little bit of disaster for City again, and disaster for Mr. Troutman. Yeah, it was 5-1. Musgrove gets the second with a header from Scott Cross to give West Ham a 5-1 lead. Troutman was seething. I think there's a very grainy image there of him pointing to the linesman. Yeah, he claimed that Musgrove was clearly offside. He actually hadn't positioned himself for the actual attack, so because he assumed that the referee was going to blow his whistle. He should never assume anything, but that was obviously probably the cry that no one said to him at the time. He's too big to argue with, but yeah, he hadn't positioned himself, and obviously they scored the goal because he thought he was going to be called offside by the linesman. In fact, the linesman actually tentatively raised his flag, and the referee had waved play on. So you play to the referee, Bert, don't you? That's what you do. But of course, the anger's boiled over, and Troutman harangued the referee. He's a big lad, the referee. He wasn't a small lad. Yeah, and the referee sort of turned away to go and sort of restart the match with a kick-off for City, obviously, after the goal. And as he turned around, Bert launched a drop ball kick right into the back of him. And obviously the referee, unflinching, certainly on the outside anyway, turned around and had no option really but to send Bert off to the stands as he got hit from about 2 yards out. Obviously, it was quite painful with them balls them days as well. I mean, they weren't the old rock hard ones of the 50s, but they weren't, in the 60s. It was still a little bit hard. So anyway, but he obviously got sent off, poor Bert, and obviously the photographers and the press were trying to get pictures of Bert Troutman. The City officials were trying to push away the photographers, etc. Made sure Bert went straight down the tunnel into the changing room to make sure the press didn't get hold of him. And of course, Mr. Stokes, the referee, at the time, he didn't escape the wrath of the City fans. He wasn't the biggest crowd, but they were very vociferous as always. And of course, for much of the match after that, he was booed and jeered continuously, and police had to stand at both ends of the ground, in the Platt Lane end and the other North Stand end, as things were being thrown onto the pitch whenever the referee came anywhere near the touchlines. Alan Oakes had to take over in goal, and he didn't keep a clean. He did let another in because he went to 6-1. Yeah, we always like a 6-1, don't we? But not in this case, obviously. Jeff Hurst made it 6 after leaving Levers. He sort of dummied Levers, virtually left him on his bum, I think, at the time. Left him for dead and fired left foot past Oakes. Of course, a full-time whistle. I don't think Mr. Stokes played too much injury time. The police ran immediately to protect the referee as fans streamed onto the pitch and tried to get at him. And that was obviously just as much interest on as off the pitch. But there you go. How dare the referee send Bert Troutman off? But there you go. So, and even that carried on after the game as well. A mob of about 1,000, it was estimated. There was 100 riot police called out with vans and dogs and horses. As a mob of hundreds, are estimated to be about 1,000, waited outside the main stand, throwing things at the offices. And of course, both the referee and even this poor City manager, verbally abused in equal measure. We want the ref, the crowd shouted. Sack McDowell, shouted another set of the crowd. It was sung as the referee was actually smuggled out through a laundry room through one of the back exits. I imagine he went round the pitch and out through one of the Platt Lane sort of Kippax stand exits later on. down as the crowd still waited to try and get at him, but they weren't. That wasn't going to happen. So an interesting game, a 6-1 defeat, not great. The newspaper ratings for the City players that day: Troutman 5, Betts 5, Kennedy 5, Benson 4, Levers 4, Oakes 4, Barlow 5, Dobin 4, Harley 6, Young 5, and Hayes 5. Well, not fantastic. So there you go, an interesting day. And as I said, yeah, City did pick up a little bit. They actually won 2 or 3 games out of the next 5 or 6. But it wasn't going to be until the last day, the very last day of the season, before City perhaps had a chance of revenge when they went to the Boleyn Ground, or Upton Park as it was called. I always called it Upton Park, not the Boleyn Ground. They had to wait till May the 18th to try and get revenge. And this was the season 62-63, the big freeze. There was actually 10 weeks lost of the season, and this is where City struggled. We'd sort of rescued ourselves a little bit just before Christmas, but obviously this sort of, for some reason, it affected City more than perhaps other teams, even though most teams obviously had a similar sort of layoff for not playing games, but City did struggle with it, unfortunately. As we approached the game on May the 18th, City sat second bottom on the same points as Birmingham City, but so a draw or a win, if Birmingham lost, would be enough to keep us in the first division. But Birmingham had a far superior goal average. It wasn't goal difference then, it was goal average. You divided one by the other to get the goal average. So it would pretty much take a cricket score by City if both teams won to actually do anything, and it was sort of virtually impossible. But we really needed Birmingham to draw or lose and a win for City. But obviously Birmingham knew they matched City's result, they would stay up, because mathematically it was never going to swing against them with the goal difference or the goal average. Yeah, so there you go. So a lot to fight for City, as well as to revenge that 6-1 drubbing. Of course, they wanted First Division survival against a West Ham team that was quite comfortable mid-table. And they were already thinking surely about their under-season tour to the USA. They were taking part in the tournament in the United States. So surely, as the old saying goes, our players will be on the beach for this one. And actually they rested 4 or 5 of the best players. But a crowd of just 16,602 at Upton Park. West Ham team that day: Leslie, Bond again, Burkitt, Bovington, Brown, Moore, Brabuck, Boyce, Seeley, Hurst and Deer. And the City crowd that day, obviously Troutman had sort of give up his mainly role to Harry Dowd, who actually, it was the next season where Troutman just had a few games as well, so it was Troutman's time to sort of step down, if you like. So Dowd was playing in this game, so obviously at least Troutman wouldn't get any indignity of letting a few more in this one, would he? Dowd, Kennedy, Sear, Oakes, Levers, Gray, Young, Dobin, Harley, Hayes and Wagstaff. So City were 1-0 down within 4 minutes. Bovington played some nice football before supplying the cross for Hurst to sweep it in. On 7 minutes it was 2-0. Hurst added a second as a Brabuck cross evaded Dowd. 28 minutes it was 3-0. 28 minutes, game over surely. A Burkitt pass found Seeley, who had plenty to do but scored from a cute angle, and a cute angle, not a cute angle. 33 minutes it was 4-0. A Brabuck corner is deflected past Harry Dowd by Boyce, and it was 4-0 half-time. City's game and First Division status, let's be honest about it, pretty much over, wasn't it, at that stage? We're not going to come back from 4-0 down. I think we may come back from similar scores, but not quite that, but we weren't going to do it that day, not with our defence anyway. 53 minutes. Brabuck adds a fifth after Moore and Hurst combine well down the wing, so makes it 5-0, 53 minutes. 82 minutes, it's 6-0, Deer nods on a Bond free kick into the path of Seeley, who gets his second and the 6th of the day. And yes, a minute later we get a consolation goal, another 6-1 on the cards. There we go, 2 6-1s. What more can any football fan ask for their team to? Unfortunately, losing 6-1 isn't quite as good as winning 6-1, and certainly not twice in the season to the same team. 83 minutes, Alan Oakes intercepts a poor Bobby Moore back pass. An error from the legend himself, Bobby Moore, to score City's consolation on a desperate day for everyone connected to City, from the players to the officials to the poor fans. The City player ratings a little bit better actually than the one at Main Road. Dowd only got a 4, Kennedy got a 5, Sear got a 5, Oakes got a 6, that was okay. Levers got a 5, Gray got a 5, Neil Young got a 7, Dobin got a 6, Harley got a 6, Hayes got a 6, but Mr. Wagstaff on the wing only got 4, unfortunately. Of course, it mattered little anyway overall, because Birmingham had won their final game 3-2. So even if City had won, it wouldn't have mattered. We would have needed a cricket score to stay up anyway, because Birmingham won their final game 3-2 against Leicester City. And it never really looked likely that City were going to do much from the 4th minute when they went a goal down. The 6 goals that day took the goals conceded by the team to 102. The most, obviously, in 42 games. It didn't happen often. There's not many teams let over 100 in the season, but yeah, we had a bit of a previous for that, hadn't we? Unfortunately, but there you go. 100. That was the problem that season. 102 goals in 42 games. All right, West Ham scored 12 of them, but hey, there you go. But at least there was no embarrassment by the players on the pitch, and I think the few hardest City fans that made the trip down there, I don't think there were many there that day, sort of left it and heads sort of held high, I suppose. Perhaps not, who knows, but there wasn't much trouble off the pitch anyway. There was no mass brawls out or anything like that as far as I can see. West Ham, yeah, well, they had a successful tour of the US, and of course they would go on to win the 1964 FA Cup the season after, and the following year after that they won the Cup Winners' Cup, the European Cup Winners' Cup. So yeah, they had a couple of really good seasons under Ron Greenwood, and of course a certain Bobby Moore, Martin Peters and Jeff Hurst would sort of get some international glory. That slips my mind at the moment, but some international glory of their own, wouldn't they, in 1966 as the sort of backbone of a certain football team that won its one and only World Cup. So there you go, not just one, but 2 6-1 defeats. So that summed up an awful season for City. This was actually Dobin and Harley's last game in Sky Blue as well for City, the West Ham game. And yes, the fans did eventually have their way. Obviously, they wanted it. They wanted it a while back, didn't they? In September, they wanted McDowell out, and yes, that was the end of Mr. Les McDowell anyway. There you go. So 2 6-1's not too bad. Thanks for joining me with this horrible Histories, which it was. But hey, it's all history. And that first game with all the fun joy about the referee and Mr. Troutman, very, very interesting. Oh, it's always interesting City's past from game to game. You can pick any. I think you can pick any game out of City's history, and there's always going to be something relevant in it of interest to people. So there you go. That's what history is. So there you go. City was well and truly hammered 6-1 twice, forgive my pun, in a very, very forgettable season. Let me know any comments if you have any personal memories about that one. But thanks for joining me today. Whatever you're going to do the rest of the day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other till we meet here again on the Citizen channel, or perhaps have a flick across, have a look at my film and TV channel. I only ask one simple thing. Stay safe, Blues. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.